that was ushered nice and slow. Of course, Donald Trump was indicted on 34 counts. 34 counts. So let me tell you something. 34 counts and multiple investigations across states and federal jurisdictions, right? So 34. This dude literally has more cases pending than Young Thug. So shouldn't he be Old Thug? It is interesting to see Republicans contort themselves to make sure that to say that this was political. Now, you can both dislike someone immensely and then be guilty. They're not binary choices. I guarantee you, when OJ was tried again at that second trial, it wasn't. It was both, in fact, that they disliked him and he was guilty. They're not binary choices. Why are we contorting ourselves? It stands to reason that if your lawyer went to jail and that you were individual one in that particular account, your lawyer went to jail for paying someone out for you, and your accountant lied for you, then at your behest, you were individual one, that you committed a crime. There's now whether we should do something about that crime or not is what you're debating. That's the point. Now, these are the people who say they're hard on crime. We're tired of crime running rampant, but not when the former leader, the leader of the free world does it. You turn the other way. Marjorie Taylor Greene, with her wolfing looking ass, is gonna say that he is Jesus. He's like Jesus. As far when did Jesus? What book? And maybe I could be remiss. I miss a lot of Sunday school, but I don't remember the chapter where Jesus grabbed them by the pussies and raw dogged the porn star. That must have been the Luke from Miami. They're contorting themselves to make this make sense. We all heard Donald Trump and the phone call he made to try to get a political ally, or excuse me, another country to dig up dirt on a political opponent. We heard him do it. He was impeached for it. Everybody knows it happened. The only reason he didn't get impeached is because Republicans decided that they wouldn't do it. We saw him stoke an insurrection. We saw it happen. We heard he was impeached. A majority of senators wanted him out of there and impeached and not being able to run. There was a few that held out. We saw it happen. We heard him. We've heard him in various interviews admit that he stole classified documents, and I classified them, or I can keep them. They're mine. We know he did it. We know that what he did is a crime. We heard him on the phone with Georgia and asking the Secretary of State, Raffensperger, to come up with over 11,000 votes. We heard him do it. So don't tell me you're tough on crime and then look the other way when you see it. Donald Trump clearly, a crime was committed in New York. What you wanted him to do was turn around. You wanted them to not charge him. It can be both political and he can be guilty at the same time. Donald Trump has a history of criminality. Donald Trump's father, Ivanka's father-in-law, it went to prison, federal prison, for fraud. Donald Trump has been accused of fraud throughout his entire career. It should be the crest, his family crest, is fraud. So let's not pretend like he doesn't have a history of these things. The best indicator of what somebody has done is what they will do. Stop telling me how tough you are on crime when you're willing to look the other way. All of these people, this is obviously political. And there is a poll out that says the majority of people in America say that this is political. Also, 60% of Americans say that he deserves it, that he should be charged. And if found guilty, he should. Now, in any other situation, who could be in charge with 34 counts, many of them felonies, and still be a viable candidate for presidency, while this is the party that tells you they're the party of law and order? This is the party that's concerned about crime? Because crime doesn't just happen in the inner cities of America. It happens across the boardrooms and the halls of governance. And you decide you want to look the other way. Donald Trump has a history of doing this. And in many of these cases, he is the usual suspect. The best indicator of what somebody will do is what they have done. Is anybody really shocked that a man who consistently committed fraud is charged with fraud? A man who lies all the time is charged with lying. A man who's openly obstructed justice is going to be charged with obstruction. You can't be shocked by that. Tell me that you don't want him to be indicted. Tell me that you think he's above the law. But do not tell me you're the party of law and order when you look the other way consistently when it doesn't suit your purposes. You don't need to look at Martin Luther King Boulevard to see crime. You sit in the halls of governance in the boardroom and you want to look the other way all the time. When it comes to fraud and lying and bullying and obstruction, There is a usual suspect, and it is Donald Trump. There's a little note from the GED section. We got the Jazz Report coming up in 15 minutes. It's the D.L. Hughley Show.